some of that tummy. Ginny bolted the narrow door behind her as she left the stall. She stood for a happy moment in the tack room. She checked to see that everything was in its place. Bales of hay and shavings for bedding were neatly stacked at the back of the room. The ceiling lights glowed on the dark leather of the halter and bridle. They were on their racks on the wall. Ginny could see the white cotton lead ropes. The buckets and metal storage cans for grain were under the shelf where the brushes and grooming things were kept. The pitchfork, rake, and broom were hung on the wall where they belonged. Ginny was humming softly under her breath. She turned off the lights and latched the door behind her. Saturday morning was clear and bright, but it was the middle of the morning before Ginny could escape from the house. "Not an inch," her mother had said firmly. Ginny had given Mokey her morning feed and had finished her own breakfast. "You are not stirring 1 inch from this house, young lady, until you clean your room. Honestly, Ginny, how can you keep your stable so neat and your room so messy?" Ginny didn't know either. She flung her things into her drawers. She made her bed. Feeling a little guilty, she kicked an old notebook under the bed. Cleaning up her room was a chore. Taking care of Mokey was fun. It was as simple as that. She snatched her hunt cap from the shelf. Then she tugged on her jacket and finally ran down to the stable. She was supposed to meet Pam Jennings at her place in 15 minutes. Ginny brushed Mokey quickly. She gave her a pat. She promised to do a better grooming job the next time. Then she bridled the pony and started on her way. Mokey knew where they were going. She never minded being ridden alone, but she always liked going out with Pam's chestnut pony, Firefly. Mokey broke into an eager trot and then into a strong canter. There were patches of silver frost on the shaded path through the woods. The air was crisp with the cold. Mokey gave a happy buck and a kick. She waved her long black tail. Ginny pulled Mokey back to a quiet walk. They turned into the Jennings stable yard. She had expected to see Pam waiting on her pony, but the yard was empty. There were no hoof prints in the smooth raked gravel in front of the wide white doors. Ginny slipped off Mokey's back just as Pam started to roll back one of the doors. "Hi," she said to Ginny. Pam was out of breath. "I thought I heard you coming. Then Firefly started to whinny, so I knew it was you. Come on in." Ginny led Mokey into the sunlit aisle between the 2 rows of box stalls. Firefly whinnied again from his stall. Mokey whinnied in answer. "Gosh, they're noisy," said Pam. She put her hands over her ears. Once they had said hello, the ponies were quiet. "I'm sorry, Ginny. I tried to call you in time," Pam said when she could be heard again, "but you'd already left. I can't ride Firefly today." "What's the matter? Is he sick?" said Ginny with worry. Pam glared at the closed door of the tack room. "Michael's such a worrier," she said. "Firefly has a tiny cut on his fetlock. You can hardly see it. But Michael has that dumb pony wrapped up in enough bandages to keep a hospital going for a year." She stopped and flushed with guilt. Michael was not in the tack room. He was just down the aisle with one of the other horses. He came limping out of the stall. Michael was lean and strong. He had ridden steeplechasers in England. But then a bad fall had given him a limp and ended his racing career. He was still able to ride and care for horses. Mr. Jennings had bought 2 hunters from him in England a few years ago. He had then asked Michael to come with the horses to school them and care for the others in his stable. Michael had been with them ever since. "Now, Miss Pam," he said crisply, "that cut's not much right now, but it will leave a scar if it's not cared for." Michael nodded to Ginny and went into the next stall. "Glass," Pam said bitterly. "That pony is made of glass. Every time he gets the littlest lump or bump or bruise..."